So this is not a process of implementation, it's a process of innovation, of invention, of creation, where you find out how you can connect with your students in a way which is more engaging. Learning always involves not only a hill, but a dip. In other words, the first time you do something, it won't work. This is a universal truth. Right? The first time you do something, it won't work. At the very least, it won't work perfectly, but quite possibly it'll be a royal screw-up. Right? That's because you don't know how to do it yet. You're trying to learn to do it. Right? And so there's always this dip in the learning. And when this happens, when you try something and it's brand new and you're not yet a polished expert at it and things go wrong and whatnot, what is that experience like? Well, the experience is you get confused. You're not quite sure why it didn't work. You wonder if you did it wrong, right? And that confusion can lead to frustration. It should have worked. They told me it would work. The other guy said it worked. And when you get frustrated, you have to try and fix it. So you have to scratch your head and wonder and try new things. It gets tiring. Change is tiring. It's confusing and frustrating. It's tiring. And this makes us afraid. We're afraid we're going to fail. We're afraid we won't cover the course. We're afraid the whole thing is just not comfortable. And so what's the most common response? I tried that. It doesn't work. So I'm going back to what I did before. Because it's comfortable, I'm good at it, I know how it goes, and anyway, I haven't got time for all this. So that's actually how the learning goes, and that's how students feel when they're trying something new. That's why you work so hard to create an environment of safety and encouragement, and you tell them, yeah, it won't work, but try it, do your best, I'll help you, we'll climb through this dip and up this hill together. Well, you need, I think, to give yourself the same permission. And my advice for getting through this dip is to expect it to occur and plan for it. So if we know darn well that when we set out to learn something new, it's going to be hard, it's going to be frustrating, it's going to be tiring, let's not pretend it's fun. Right? It may be rewarding. I hope it's rewarding. Hopefully it's worthwhile, but fun, it usually ain't. But if we know it's going to happen, what can we do to prepare for that? Well, rule number one, have a darn good reason. You don't change for fun. Right? You change because it's important and worth doing. And then you plan to do it with some other people. You know, you should always hold hands when you go out in the world. I learned that in kindergarten. And that's true here too. You do it in a group, and then you can sort of share what you're learning. You can encourage each other, and when one person's feeling tired, then the other person can help them along. If you wanted to learn to, jog or something, you'd join a running group. Well, if you want to change, you should join a changing group. Don't do it in isolation. Expect it to be difficult. And then celebrate the little steps along the way. But a lot of the change that I was talking about is adaptive learning. It's about reconsidering the goal, rethinking the outcome in the process, reimagining what this is all about in the first place. This is very much harder to learn because it involves taking things that we have assumed that we know and things that we've been doing and changing them at a more fundamental level. It's kind of threatening. It takes longer because you have to unlearn something to learn the new thing. If you're layering on a new technique, you just learn the new thing. But when you're rethinking something, you have to unlearn some of your assumptions. You have to say, you know what, that stuff I've been doing, that's wrong. I have to do a different thing. So I have to let go of some things and then fill the gap with a new thing. And the unlearning, which creates the space for the relearning, which is the adaptive learning, is more difficult, more threatening, the dip is deeper, and the cost is higher. So when you're encountering a change process, I think you need to ask yourself honest questions about which part of this is technical, and where can I find those resources and that methods, and who can come teach me that or show me that, and which part of this is adaptive. And that means it's all down to us. We have to reimagine, rethink, and come to new conclusions about what we're really trying to accomplish, what's most important.